Oh, you finally got the 3D suit. I've had the 3D the suit itself, not the gloves and the head tracking stuff. That stuff was stuff that got figured out later. But I've had the suit for quite a while, since well before I moved out of the old place. But I just didn't have the space to use it. I got everything and I set up the receivers in the other place, and then I was like, oh, I can't really get this to work in this office area that I have. So I had to like put it aside. It just wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work. And I could have then gotten a system of like 11 Vive trackers and just done that. But I was like, what's the point of me getting this entire bodysuit to then not use it for my 3D debut, right? Like that sucked so bad. So I was like, I'd rather wait. Getting good body tracking done with Vive trackers and everything is doable. A lot of dancers, like VR chat dancers, they use 11-point Vive trackers, you know, and it's fine. I just don't like the way it moves. Like you'll have a tracker attached to your elbow to know where your elbow goes. You'll have a tracker attached to your hand to know where your hand goes. What about your shoulders? You know what I mean? Like where's your rib cage actually placed? You just throw a hip tracker on. It's doing a lot of assuming, and it's not real placement. I didn't like that. I don't know. I had a friend who had like 11-point tracking that I tried on and was testing stuff, and I was like, it's cool, but it's not accurate. So I don't want it. You know, I really wanted the suit. So I thought to myself, I'd just much rather wait. What would 3D be like motion tracking for games? Or no, it's just for a 3D model. So what I look like right now, imagine this, but it's a 3D model instead of 2D. And then you put on a bodysuit that can mocap you and match all of your movements to it. That's all. Because the way 2D works is that every single movement is just off of your head. It's just off of your head. So if I move my head to the left, you know, it's like, oh, your body must be also going to the left, because it's not like my neck would just go to the left alone. But this is all just kind of like drawn in and animated in. That's just how it is, right? It's not actually tracking literally what I'm doing. So when my shoulders move like this, I'm not moving my shoulders at all. So that is that. Whatever the body does is completely just whatever it was rigged to do based off of what the head and face do. That is how 2D works. Yeah, I could do head tilts. Yeah, tilt. You have three. You have just three. You have up and down. So the body up and down tends to go with the head. So I'm going to stay completely, I know the immersion. I'm going to stay completely still and just tilt my head up. And I'm going to tilt my head down. That's it. It's just head. And then I'm turning my head. And then I'm leaning. Right? And then I'm tilting. So it picks up a lot of that stuff, and you see how like other things will happen as a cascading effect, but it's not tracking the body in at all. It is just doing what it thinks makes sense. And this is not, it's not using any sort of algo or thing to like guess that. It is literally hardwired in. So when you're rigging a model, you have a parameter that is like head position X, and you can go -1, +1, and then in the middle is 0, right? So all you do is when you tell it when head position X is -1, the body also does this, and then, you know, that's it. I know I'm like watering it down to simplifying it, but same thing with head tilt. When you go head tilt Y, which is the vertical axis, goes up, +1, -1, or 0, right? You also have a body movement. When head tilt up is +1, body also does this, right? A little bit. So the whole thing moves, but it's just reading in the head tilt. That's how 2D works. So you just put an iPhone in front of yourself and that's it. 3D is the only thing that actually is mapping your movements to what's going on. Because even 2D hand tracking, people see it and they're like, oh my God, the 2D stuff is like following the hand movements. It's not. Any 2D anything, you just do a gesture and it triggers a pre-made animation off of the gesture you're making. It's not like a real-time tracking thing, which is a little sad. I would love one day to have some sort of real-time tracking for 2D, but all you need is you need more parameters. And the only thing we use for tracking is Apple AR Kit, which is their like Face ID, face tracking, everything. It literally only tracks face. But I would love to eventually like have people put on equipment that tracks their body movements the same way they would for 3D, but then maps it to a 2D model. That's what I would like to see. But I think we're very far off from that. That could easily get jank. So how feasible is it to sit in those 3D suits for multiple hours? Very feasible, because you can remove the trackers from the inside and wash it. So it's really like not so bad. It depends on how it fits. If you have one that fits too tight, you're gonna die. And some people have issues with the gloves, like burning their hands too. Like some of the stuff gets really warm. So you have to be careful. It depends on your equipment though. You like how I'm willing to talk about the meta stuff? I like it because I got into this stuff because I thought it was cool. Like I liked the tech behind it. I saw a couple clips and I was like, oh, you know, I had always wondered if people could live do this because you can do live CG, but it's usually just done in movies like CGI and stuff up until that point. And I had been thinking about it for a long time and wondering if it would ever become like a live entertainment thing, right? And then when it finally did, I was like, oh shit, I want to get into it because I want to like learn about the tech. And that was really my motivation. So I love that stuff, and I love thinking about what could be possible.